when to use the law of sines. Okay, so just make sure that you remember that. Okay, so I'm going to use the law of sines when I'm given information on angle, angle, side, angle, side, angle, or side, side, angle. So if I have one of those three situations, which I'll talk about as we work some problems, that's when I know to use the law of sines. Okay, and again, that's the only one you have today, I know, but starting tomorrow, that piece of information will be more important. We could go ahead and write down cosines too. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, so, oops, just law, not laws. So law of cosines, you can go ahead and write down if you want to, is going to be when you have side, 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 or, I guess I should say, or side, angle, side. Okay, so if you're given information on all three sides or two sides and the angle that's between them, that's when you want to use the law of cosines. Okay, so let's jump down and start with number 3. So on number 3, it says to determine how far a boat is from shore, 2 radar stations that are 500 feet apart. So here's my 2 radar stations right here. They tell us that they're 500 feet apart. They didn't put that on the picture, so let's go ahead and write that down here. So this is going to be 500 feet down here, the distance from the 2 radar stations. Determine the angle out to the boat as shown. So this radar notices the angle is 70 degrees, and this one notices that it's 60 degrees. And I want to find the distance from the boat to station A. So this right here is what I'm looking for. So X right there is what I'm looking for from the boat to station A. Okay. So here's where I like to use the colors. All right. I know that I am looking for this side right here. And I'm going to use my green highlighter, and then I'm going to say that that corresponds to this angle over here. Okay, so when I'm working with the law of sines, I know that X and 60 go together. Okay. Now remember that this is not a right triangle, so I cannot use Pythagorean theorem to find my missing side. Okay, so I'm going to have to work with this side right here, which corresponds with this angle up here. Okay, so when I'm using the law of sines, I know that I'm going to have to use the green together and the orange together. Okay, what can I do to find my orange angle up here? That's right, good. I must subtract from 180. So I know that the 3 angles add together to give me 180. So in my calculator, in degree mode, I'm going to take 180 and subtract 70 and subtract 60. And now I know that orange angle right there. So I know that that angle up there is 50. Okay, so now I can set up my law of sines. And again, if you want to do your angles on the top, that's okay. Just make sure it's consistent and go in the same direction with both fractions. I like to do the side on the top, so I'm going to do 500 over the sine of 50 is equal to X over the sine of 60. Okay, let's cross multiply. So I'm going to say that's X times the sine of 50 and 500 times the sine of 60. And then I'm going to divide over. So that will give me 500 times the sine of 60 over the sine of 50. Okay, so in my calculator, I'm going to do alpha F1 number 1, 500 sine of 60 over the sine of 50. And again, we'll just go ahead and round everything on the test to 3 decimal places so you don't have to think too hard about it. So I'm going to say that my missing side there is 565.258. And any of these word problems, be sure that you include units of measure. So in this case, my side that I was working with was 500 feet. So the side that we found will also be in feet. Okay, so again, just make sure that you include units of measure. Later this week, we're going to work with area, and so the units of measure will make a difference because we'll need to talk about square units. Okay, so be sure on the test that you include units of measure. Okay, any questions about number 3? Okay, flip over on the next page, and let's take a look at number 4. Which number 4 is about as hard as these get because I'm going to have a lot of missing information. So it's like I have to find something to then find something to then find something else. Okay, so lots of different steps that are going to go along with number 4. Okay. All right, so in number 4, it tells me that a communications tower, here it is right here, is located at the top of a steep hill. And it's on a hill because, again, we don't want to be looking at right triangles. Okay, so we're not going to be working with a right angle. All right, a guy wire, this is the wire right here, is to be attached to the top of the tower and the ground, and it's 165 meters downhill from the base of the tower. The height of the tower is 80. They did not write that in, so that's going to be this side of my triangle right here. That one's going to be 80 right here. Okay. I want to know how long is the wire. Okay, so here's my tower. That's 80. Here's my hill, that's 165, and then here's my wire over here that I'm looking for. Okay, this time I'm going to use all 3 colors. All right, so I'm going to start by saying I know that I'm looking for X, which is across from this angle right here. Okay, so already I'm kind of missing too much information to use that. Do you see that? I can't look for a side and an angle in the same part of my question, so I'm already missing a lot of information there. Okay, I do, however, have this angle that I'm going to circle in orange that goes with this side over here, which is my 80. So that's kind of nice. I have a side and an angle that go together. Let me go ahead and set that up. So I've got my side of 80 over my sine of 16. Okay, so I know that's kind of some set information that I know I can use. Okay, but again, I can't use the green yet because I can't look for a side and an angle at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to use a purple highlighter. Here's my 3rd color. And I'm going to say that this side right here, the 165, goes with this angle up here. And so because I have a side on that one, I'm not missing as much information. I can find the angle that's missing there. Okay, so I'm going to make that equal to my purple, so that'll be 165 over the sine of, and I'm just going to call this y up here, just to give it a letter. If you want to call it A, B, or C, you can. It doesn't really matter what you call that angle. We're just using it to get the green angle to then get the green side. Okay, so let's cross multiply. Yay, you found some.
This is as many as I can find.
Okay, awesome. I'll start with those during lunch, and then I can go buy some more during 6th period.
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Do you have the list for senior favorites by chance, Andy?
No, it's all online.
Okay. It's all. Is the Google sheet still up?
No, I
Okay.
closed it, I think. You can check and see, but I think I closed it when I closed voting.
I think you did too.
Yeah, because I had closed voting.
During lunch, will you share the list with me of some sort? I just need the names.
Like I'm about to start handwriting. What do you need the names for? Hang on, I'm recording. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. All right, so let's cross multiply. So that's going to be 80 sine of y equals 165 sine of 16. And then I'm going to divide over, and I'm going to do my inverse sine, which gives me 165 sine of 16 divided by 80. All right, so grab your calculator. I'm going to do second sine. Remember, if you're looking for an angle, you want to use the second button, so second sine. Alpha F1 number 1, 165 sine of 16 divided by 80. Okay, so I found my angle right there to be 34.646, which over here on my picture I'm just going to write as 34. So that's this angle right here. Okay, so again, if I know these two angles, what can I do to find my green angle? If I know purple and orange, what can I do to find green? That's right, good. Subtract from 180. Good. So I'm going to do 180. Now here's a little calculator trick for you. Minus 16. I'm going to do minus, and I'm going to do second and my negative sign. So second answer will type all of these decimal places back in for you and get you a more exact answer. So second and the negative sign will give me all of those back. Okay, so I'm just going to write on my picture that this angle is now 129. It's really 129.3541652, blah, 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 blah. But for right now, I'm just going to write 129. Okay, so now I have good information on orange, and I have good information on green that I can use to find my missing side over here. All right, so I'm going to do 80 over the sine of 16, which is equal to x over the sine of 129.354, which again, I'm going to use second answer so that I can use all of those decimal places. Okay, so cross multiply gives me x sine of 16 and 80 sine of 129.354. And then I'm going to divide by that sine of 16. Okay, for this piece right here, I'm going to use second and my negative sign again. I'm going to use second answer. All right, so I'm going to do alpha F1 number 1, 80 sine, second answer, over the sine of 16. And that's going to give me 224.423, and we're working in meters. Again, don't forget to use those units of measure. Don't forget your units of measure. Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, again, if you're a couple of decimal places off because of rounding, that's okay. Now, we caught one last period where they were like, they'd gotten like 220. That's too far. Okay, but if you're at like 224.6, that's okay. It's all right. Okay, any questions on number 4? Okay, the last one I want to work together is number 7. All right, so down here on the bottom, number 7. All right, this is one that has angles of depression, and so it's probably been a while since you worked with angles of depression, but always when you work angles of depression, we're going to work with your alternate interior angles, which has also been a while since you talked about from geometry, so I wanted to remind you about both of these things. Okay, so anytime you have something up in the air, like in this case we have a pilot and a plane, sometimes we have a hang glider, you'll see that on your worksheet in just a minute. We're going to use this idea of angles of depression, and what happens is they look out at this horizon and then they measure the angles down from there. Okay, so anytime you're working angles of depression, you're looking at a horizon and then you're measuring the angles down. Now what's tricky about it is that it's not the angles inside your triangle yet. Okay, those are both going to be on the outside. But what I know is that this horizon and the ground are parallel. Okay, and because those are parallel lines, I can say that alternate interior angles are congruent. And the easy way for me to recognize alternate interior angles is that they're at the corners of the letter Z. Okay, so grab one of your colors. If you're doing colors, grab one of them. And I'm going to say that I have one Z right here. Okay, so with that Z, the corners here and here are congruent. So this one is also going to be 37 degrees. Okay, this works anytime you're working with angles of depression. Okay, now I'm going to grab another color. I'm going to do orange. And I'm going to go with my backward Z. So I have a backward Z here and here. So this angle and this angle are congruent. Okay, so now I have 2 of the 3 angles in my triangle. I'm going to find the third angle by subtracting from 180. Okay, so I'm going to go 180 minus 37 minus 44, and that gives me this one to be 99. Okay, so again, anytime you're working angles of depression, look for your Z's, and those angles that are in them are congruent to each other. Okay, now the problem also tells me that the 2 mile posts are 6.6 kilometers apart, so I know this side is 6.6. Okay, I want to find the distance of the plane to point A, so I'm looking for this side right here. Okay, on this one I was given information on 2 angles and the side that's in between them. So I'm working with an angle, side angle on this one. I'm not sure I made a good point of that up above. We'll go back and look at what you were given on those that were up above. Again, today it doesn't really matter, but tomorrow it's going to be a big deal. Okay, so let's see here. I am looking for this side when I know this angle. And I am given this side, and I know this angle. So I'm going to try to avoid working with the green because I don't know what this side is over here. Okay, so I'm going to work with the orange and the purple in my world. All right, so that's going to be 6.6 over the sine of 99, and x over the sine of 44. Okay, cross multiply. And divide. And in my calculator, I'm going to go alpha F1 number 1. 6.6 sine of 44 divided by the sine of 99. And I'm going to round to 3 decimal places, and this time we're working with kilometers, or kilometers if you prefer. Okay, so my missing side here is going to be 4.642 kilometers. Okay, any questions on those? All right, let me jump right back up to number 4 real quick and just point out that we were on this one given information on 2 sides and the angle that was not included. So this would have been a side-side angle situation, which not in a word problem I would have done ambiguous case, but in the word problems you don't have to worry about ambiguous case, only when it's just giving you information. So we'll set these up where there's one triangle. All right, so this one's a side-side angle. All right, and then flip back over to number 3 real quick. Number 3, I was given information on 2 angles and the side that's between them, so this one was an angle, side, angle. Okay, and again, not such a big deal today, but tomorrow with law of cosines, you'll have to decide which one you need to use, and we'll get some practice with that as well. Okay, flip over to worksheet number 5 for me, please. And I'm just going to assign a few of these today, and we'll take a look. So worksheet number 5 looks like this. Okay, and I would like for you to start with number 2. Remember when you're working these that your shortest side is across from your smallest angle, and your longest side is across from your largest angle. So keep that in mind as you're working number 2. Okay? Will you please omit the first number 4? I don't know why there's 2 of them. I think I've been using this same worksheet for 15 years, and every year there's 2 number 4s, and we're just going to take it off. It's a right triangle, and we're not really focusing on right triangles right now, so we'll just skip over that one. I will ask you to work numbers. So number 2 on the front, flip over on the back. And I would like for you to try 7. 7 is one with a hang glider and those angles of depression again. So just like that one we just worked. Okay, and then 9. And then 10. And let me take a look at 10 real quick. These little boxes are supposed to be angle symbols. They just don't print well on my computer because this worksheet is so old. So change those to little angles. So what it tells you is that a ship's captain measures angle ASB to be 33 degrees. Then it tells you that the radio operator also measures angle ASB to be 33 degrees. So it's kind of extra information right there, so watch out for that. Okay, it's just kind of confirming that ASB is 33 degrees. Then ABS is 52. Okay, so don't let it confuse you. It's not 3 different angles. It's just 2 angles that they're working with there. Okay, and then on the last page, give number 11 a try. Okay, so for homework, if you'll try 2, 7, 9, 10, and 11. 2, 7, 9, 10, and 11. And I'll put my answers up so you can check those as you go.